because
But
that is a fascinating proxy for, that brand value.
yeah, yeah, there's so when you go to the site, there's under the research tab, there's a section that says rivalry and NCAA athletics, and there is where you would see that information. Like Syracuse identified 11 different teams, Texas was identified by 11 different teams, and then we had also taken the aggregate scores of the sport rivalry fan perception scale, and we compared those with fan groups, or we compared them between teams. And so we actually were able to, from our data, look at the most intense fan rivalries in NCAA athletics. And I'll let you see, who do you think was number one of the different teams? And I will say it's not a rivalry that a lot of people think about on a national level.
Yeah, because I would say something like Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Oklahoma.
Yeah, so Texas, Oklahoma was number 5. Auburn, Alabama was 4. Missouri, Kansas was 3. Colorado, Nebraska was 2. I think because we had a lot of Colorado responses. Arizona, Arizona State is
Wow.
the most intense fan rivalry. And this is the
Is that just because they're so closely aligned, or they compete in recruiting and stuff, or
well,
across multiple sports, or anything like that?
it's that, they have, it's the state. So it's a intra-state rivalry. So there's that feeling of state supremacy. But that's shared a lot of different places. Texas A&M, and they were number 13 on the list. Alabama Auburn was number 4. What's really interesting about Arizona State, and this was actually the third time, or this is the third source that has come to the same conclusion regarding Arizona State from a fan perspective.
Wow.
And what's so interesting about Arizona State, and I didn't really know this until I talked to 2 people doing stories about the Arizona State rivalry and a book on it. There are a lot of people, those 2 schools get confused a lot on the national level. So you have fan bases that they're playing for, like, kind of that state supremacy and bragging rights, but at the same time, you have, like, even things like the NFL sent an award to the wrong school, like a player who played for, let's just say, Arizona State, and they sent it to Arizona. Like Major League Baseball has done that. Like a lot of, and they've had gaffes on television where people talk about the Arizona Sun Devils and the Arizona State Wildcats, and so it's this really interesting dynamic that these 2 groups of fans, like, they're competing over state supremacy, and so they are Group A and Group B. But then on a national level, it's almost like they are one group against, the state of Arizona, and those 2 fan bases are Group A, and everyone else is Group B, because they're getting them confused a lot. And that's been one of the more fascinating findings in sport. The sport aspect, or the sports setting, is like that rivalry and how those groups compare with each other.
Wow, yeah, that's fascinating. That confusion, you think about it from fan perspective, that'll get you going. I remember even when, I would talk to people about Memphis or the University of Memphis, and even when they would say like Memphis State, it's kind of like, it was Memphis State.
Yeah.
You get a little, riled up, because it's like you want that recognition where you're saying, hey, we've got this good basketball team, this good football team. Please try to get our name right.
Yeah.
And here, 2 fan bases are getting that confused.